laws are immoral? What the hell is that, right? Where do they come up with this nonsense? They can give $10 billion to Central American countries, $10 billion a year in aid, but they can't give us this country, the people who live here, the people who work here, the people who pray here, the people and their ancestors who helped build this country, black, white, Chinese, I don't care who you are. We're here and we're citizens and we want our voices to be heard. So to start this out, I met Mike Kilgus, a veteran, another veteran, earlier tonight, this afternoon, and he said he'd like to share a couple words. He told me a very interesting story. He has some experience in Washington, D.C., and he wanted to share that with all of us.
In 1984, January of 1984,
Louder! Beat the mic.
In January of 1984, I went to D.C. to fight for the guys who were killing themselves because no one was helping them with PTSD. They either had 100%, they were locked in a hospital, or they got 10% and they were stuck at home. When I got there, I got involved with a thing down at the wall where they were setting up a vigil for the POWs that weren't brought home. And when I was there, I ran into some people, and I was asked to come up there. Okay. Can you hear me like this?
No, put the mic closer.
Okay.
Right up against your lips.
When I was there, I met some people, and they asked me to come up to their home district for a vacation. I went up there. When I was there, their senator came up, and he started talking about the POWs, and he was lying, and I caught him on it. So I thought he'd be mad at me. Instead, he asked me to come back to D.C. and work out of his office with him as a vet rep. Working out of his office means I didn't get paid, but I didn't have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. The first day I got in there, I asked his chief aide, I said, how does a civilian get a bill through Congress? And she said, oh, that's easy. Sex, drugs, money, or power. And I laughed. She says, no, that's what it is. Sex, drugs, money, or power. About a week later, when I walked past where I was living down to the Capitol building, I walked past this one street that had gay sex houses all the way down for 2 blocks. And every time I went past there, I saw congressional license plates. And I asked her about it. She says, oh, man, when you got this much power, sexual preference doesn't mean anything. So then, at the end of the next week, I was sitting at a desk with Joe Biden, who was the man that asked me to come down there. And while we were sitting there talking about some veterans issues, his secretary came in. She says, Senator Biden, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so from your home district came down here because you promised you were going to help them out with the problem they have with their daughter. And she said, he says, oh, yeah, tell them to come on in. If they want to talk to you, they'll sit at the desk. When you walk up, they'll stand up, shake your hand, sit back down. He didn't. He met him at the door. And he went up to the man, and he put the lady, and he hugged her, and he held onto her hand and put his other hand on her shoulder. He says, I just want to let you know my people are working on this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're going to fix this. You don't have anything to worry about. And went over to her husband and shook his hand and held it and said, I just want you to know that my people are working on this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're going to fix this for you. You haven't got anything to worry about. Now, if you guys want to stay here tonight, get a motel room, you want to stay here for a couple of days, you want to go eat at a restaurant or whatever, you tell the people to call me and I'll take care of it for you. Now, I want you to have some fun here, and I want you to go home and enjoy yourselves. And I have to be careful how I say this. But he sat down at his desk, and I said, what was that all about? He says, I haven't got the slightest effing idea. That's the way they are. The only thing that matters to them are themselves, power, and other people like them. All we are toys. And President Trump is the first person that I have ever seen in my life, and I'm 69 years old.
Hey, you're a kid.
That I have ever seen stand up for America and not bow down to anybody else. As every veteran will tell you personally, this is our country.
That's right.
That's right.
We are the ones that are supposed to be standing up for it, and we're doing it. And we need to keep doing it so that he can get his job done.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Our first speaker that we have today is a friend of mine. Her name is Dottie Bailey. Dottie will be sworn in this coming Wednesday as a representative of District 110 in West St. Louis County. So congratulations to Dottie. I met Dottie a few years ago. She was a volunteer at the Tea Party rallies we had. She was a volunteer and an activist here in the St. Louis community, and she always had a smile on her face, and she always was very helpful if you ever needed something done. And Dottie decided after years of being an activist and of helping others that she'd use those same skills and represent us in the Missouri Congress. So Dottie took a big chance. She ran for Congress and she won. She's definitely a friend of ours and a friend of Donald Trump and a friend of the patriots in this country.
That's right.
Dottie has 2 kids. She's been in banking for 20 years. She's, like I said, a grassroots activist and leader. She's a board member of the St. Louis Tea Party Coalition.
All right.
She's a founding member of the Heritage Action Real Estate Sentinel in Washington, D.C. And like I said, she's a charming person. She's going to lead us off today. Dottie Bailey, soon to be representative.
Dottie!
So this is good. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Good. I love it. So what I love about you all is on a beautiful day in January, instead of going to the park or going somewhere else, you came here because you love America. You want to see America first. You support our president who said no to the globalists. And yes to America first. And you see the repercussions that he and we are getting. He's shaken the cage. He's rattled the cage. And these elitists and globalists have been sitting fat and happy for decades. Like our veteran said, he's the first one that said, I don't think so. So, but let's be clear why we're here today. It's not against people that want to come to this country. That's not what it's about. Because if I was in another country, you bet your rear end I would want to come to America.
Right.
Okay, but we have rules. We are a nation of rules, right? We're not a men don't create everything that we do.
Come on.
So, how do we do this? Who are we fighting against? Who's bringing these people here? And this is what Donald Trump is fighting for. It's the globalists doing this. They're gathering these people from Honduras. You know how hard it is to get 4 people to go out to dinner and then figure out to do. Come on, you can't get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people to come one place at one time.
Orchestrated.
I mean, that was my gut instinct from the beginning, and we saw it to be true. So, again, but I ask you to pray for those people. I feel bad. They are being used as human collateral to come and circumvent our Constitution. You know, they're human beings, and so we love them. We're not gonna belittle them or make fun of them. You know, we're here to light a candle, not curse the darkness like the left does. The left will come and say, hey, she's a representative, go bother her at Steak and Shake when she's eating. But we don't do that. We open doors, we say thank you, we say, you know, we love our enemy, and I always encourage that because one act of kindness will just stamp out 1,000 negative things. And I know you all, I'm preaching the choir, so I appreciate you being here, but I did want to read one thing from the U.S. Constitution that solidifies this all, and I hope the lefty media is listening, and I know they want to they don't care about our Constitution, but we are the silent majority. We are the sleeping giant. Do you want us to wake up again? I mean, do you? They keep pushing us, and we will rise. We're the quiet people at home, praying for our kids, get them to school, feed them great dinners, going to work, paying taxes.
Silent majority.
Silent majority.
Silent no more.
Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. The United States States shall guarantee every state in this Republican form of government and shall protect each state them against invasion. Mr. President, we ask you to fulfill your duty and secure our borders for our families and the rest of this country and the generations that come.
Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall!
Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall! Build the wall!
No wall,
Appreciate it. There you go.
no wall, no deal.
No wall, no wall, no deal. I love that. No wall, no deal. No wall, no deal. No wall, no deal. No wall, no deal.
No wall, no
Fantastic. Thank
No
you.
wall, no
Our next
deal.
speaker is one of the wonderful person. Jen Bird is going to speak next. Jen, whenever I have a question about St. Louis politics, whenever I have a question about Missouri politics, whenever I want to know what's going on in our communities, I know who to talk to. And that's Jen Bird. Because she loves her country, she's always plugged in, and she never gives up. And she's here today, and I thank you, Jen, for all of the service you give to this country, this community. So please welcome Jen Bird.
Okay, I think I can speak real loud. Tell me if you can't hear me. I would like to give a piece of advice, mainly to the left. Stop the hysteria. You want freedom, but you really don't. You want control. And you are not going to control me. You are not going to silence me. And you are not going to stop me. But I do welcome the challenge because I got to get my energy out on somebody. Okay? So here's the deal. If you think everyone should have freedom of movement, take the locks off your cars. Open the front doors to your houses. Quit with the hysteria. I cannot belabor the point enough.
Take down their walls.
There we go. Why don't we strip the wall from around the home of Nancy Pelosi? Okay? Or when the phony Pope, yes, I said it, phony, you can quote me, wants to get in on it, why don't you take the wall out from around Vatican City? Again, okay, so after we're done with getting people trained on stop the hysteria, we need to remind them that they have to stop the hypocrisy. We elected this president on several promises. Securing our borders is but one. Do we need a wall across the entire southern border? Maybe not. But most of it. We need it across every part where it matters. Every single part. And the parts where it doesn't make sense along the river, we need people there to guard it. If you're locking your front door at night and you're chastising us for asking for national security, you're a hypocrite. If you are willfully going to other countries and showing your passport when you enter, but you don't want people to be here illegally, or I'm sorry, you don't think people should be here with some type of identification and permission, you're a hypocrite. So cut it and shut it and stop the hysteria. Build the wall, and I will love it when Trump, as he has so often done, circumvents everybody. My favorite method of circumvention is, of course, Twitter, because you know you gotta love the bombs he lobs right over the heads of the media. So let's keep this up. Let's continue to show our support for our president. Let's not be afraid, and I pity the fool. Pity the fool. Because believe me, I have been challenged a number of times. Some of you know that I go into the city of St. Louis fairly regularly. Of course, I'm fighting a merger. That's why I'm there. I've been addressed about Trump. There have been no swings at my face. Again, I pity the fool. We stand for our president. We stand for our
laws, and we stand for our flag. God bless you all.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jen Bird. I knew that would be good. I knew that would be good. So let me tell you, I thought this week, my name's Jim Hoft again. I run the website Gateway Pundit. I've been doing that for 14 years. And I started because I was sick and tired of the bias in this media today. And when I started going on the blogs and I saw Powerline and I saw Instapundit and I saw Right Wing News and I saw some of these others back then, Michelle Malkin, they were saying something that was completely different than what I was getting in the mainstream media. And I loved it. And I was attracted to it. And so I started my own website. When I did that, I had 2 readers. In 2016, during the election, that readership had grown. I built some relationships. I tried to tell the truth at all times. I report on the news that the mainstream media is not reporting. And in 2016, before the election, we were having 1 million readers a day. Right? Currently, the Gateway Pundit this past year was ranked number 7 in the country for conservative websites. So we've done this just because we love the American people. I love my American experience. And I want to keep this for the generations to come. So I do the little part I can to do what I can to preserve this country. So anyway, let me tell you though, when I decided to organize this rally this week, I knew exactly who to call, the activist leaders in our community. And then because we are conservative, right, I called the government and I called the Clayton County offices and I said we'd like to hold a rally. Well, let me tell you, you all know because you're residents here at this community what happened in 2014 when they were holding rallies. On the left, if they want to hold a rally, they just get a bunch of pup tents and put them up wherever the hell they want to, right? They don't get permission. They don't get any of the things that we have to do, right? Or else they'll go sit in the middle of a street or walk across the interstate and do whatever the hell they want to do. They're not doing this legal. You know, it's not legal what they're doing, and yet they're not arrested. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of the double standard in this country. Where if you do the right thing, you're punished, and if you some illegal, you can get away with whatever the hell you want. And that's what it's starting to look like. And that's why we need to continue to speak out. So this week when we decided to do this rally, we had to get a permit from the government. I was on several calls back and forth. We had to get insurance, you know, which costs a significant amount of money. We had to, of course, plan everything. And so anyway, there's steps you have to take. But I'm glad we did it. It's worth it because, you know, if Donald Trump, and I know all of you here understand this, if Donald Trump, if he quits, if he says, no, I guess I'll give Nancy Pelosi what she wants and we won't have a wall. If he does that, if he gives in to Chucky Schumer, crying Chuck, he's going to lose half of his base. And we're out here today because we support this president. We support the record economy. We support withdrawing from war zones where we won. We support his announcements, his executive orders where he's helping people who are hooked on the drugs that are coming into this country because we have an open border. So we want Donald Trump to hear us today and hear us that Donald Trump, don't give up. We want you to succeed and we're behind you 100%. Now this week, when I needed some assistance with organizing this event, I went to Bill Hennessy, who I'm going to read off a statement from Bill. He's wonderful. He started the St. Louis Tea Party here. And I also went to Fred Sauer. Fred Sauer is an activist. He's a brilliant mind. He lives in the St. Louis community. His father ran for governor. They're complete patriots. They're pro-life conservatives. And Fred helped me out extensively this week. I really appreciate it. So our next speaker right now is Fred Sauer.
Thank you, Jim. I think
think we really got to thank Jim Hoff for doing this. Let's get it up for Jim Hoff. Thank you so much. He put this rally together in like 2 days. So thank you. I just want to make one point about immigration. You know, under the Trump economic policies, we're seeing real wages rise. That has not happened in years and years and years. And they're up 3.2% this year, above inflation the first time in more than a decade. And part of that, there's a number of reasons for that. Part of that is immigration. The left and the globalists and the extreme wealthy want the globalists and the left, for many reasons, want to bring more and more people in, but one is to keep wages down so they can make more money. That's what's going on. And Trump is reducing that flow, and so wages can rise and everyone can participate in the great American system.
That's right.
So I just want to say, echoing Jim, we want to thank Donald Trump for standing up for America. He's taking slings and arrows like you can't believe. We love what he's doing. We fully support him, and we've got his back. We want to send that message. Thank you all, and God bless you.
And he's doing it free of charge, too.
Thank you, Fred. All right. Thank you, Fred. Fantastic. Our next speaker is immigrant from the U.S. to the U.S. Boaz Steiner is originally from Israel. And he's going to talk a little bit about what it means to be a diverse community and how to do it legally.
I'm really good at picking apart the bullshit and I read this book and it did not one bullshit thing.
All right. I came here, like we said, the legal way, and I have a lot to argue with a lot of people that want to bring immigrants here not legally.
You gave me this book.
You cannot hear me still? I'm not kissing the microphone. Anyway, so I done everything, the process the right way, and I follow everything, and I have a lot to argue with the lefty and all the other that want to see anybody coming here not way. And I work with some people that are also immigrant, and only the right way to do it. And to come here not the right way, it's not fair for us that we done all the process, and there is no reason to anybody done crime, broke the law, and came here to get rewarded and stay here. I just read yesterday on Israeli law that we put a fence between Israel and Egypt, and it's the first time 2018 zero person crossed the border after there was having average of 10,000 crossing. Nobody crossing because the border is helping. We have a border between Israel and the West Bank, and 99% of suicide bombers stop, and all the other stealing and stuff. So war is helping. If you need it or not, I think that it prove is there. Like we said, and Trump, I vote for him from the beginning, maybe not for his political correct stuff, but he's deliver. He's the first man that I see. I'm only here from 92, long time enough, and I see that he deliver. All the other politicians, Republican, Democrat, they promise, but they didn't deliver it. He's the first time a person to deliver, and you have to do it the right way. I done it, other immigrants done it, and this is what we have to stand for you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, all the people who were naturalized citizens, they're all
Thank you, Buzz.
conservative.
Thank you so much.
They need to
We're getting a lot done here today, you know. We're doing this on a shoestring, and we didn't do a lot of planning, you know, but we're going to make this work out. I think this is fantastic, and this is how it's supposed to be. The next speaker I had is, if I look at my list right, the next speaker I have down is a friend of ours, and she's a good friend of mine. And I met Terry. This is really going to be a very moving speech. I met Terry, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this today. Terry's been a friend of mine for at least 6-7 years. And when I met Terry, she's a gardener, and she's very good, by the way. Very, very good. She's very good at what she does. She's always in demand. When I met Terry several years ago, she came over to my house and did some work for me, and she had her son with her, and he was a very nice man, young guy, And so they did some great work. Terry's done some work with me and for me for a long time. A phenomenal American. You know, these are the stories I specifically asked Terry here today because these are the stories you're not hearing about. Terry's son, I later found out he died of an overdose. He's one of the victims because we have open borders. And he's one of the victims who died of a heroin overdose. And it broke my heart to hear that. And so today when, this week when I was talking about organizing this event, I talked to Terry, and she immediately said, well, I'll speak. And Terry's never spoken before in public. She's never really told this story. And she shared one story with me this week about Terry's voted Democrat her whole life, right? And she was, you know, we've had a shutdown now for 15 days, and I'm glad you've all survived it so far. But Terry told me about how she was in a cab. Maybe you could tell that story real first, and real quick at first, and then we'll get into some other things. But she told me this great story as I was talking to her this week. Hi. Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. I want to start by saying I did not vote for Trump. Will I vote for Trump the next time? Yes.
Yeah.
I am an embarrassed liberal.
You're more than welcome.
I am an embarrassed liberal. And what started me quickly, this is the cab story, sorry, was the opioid crisis. Because I'm reflecting on my son Jason. Donald Trump did what Barack Obama didn't do, what the Clintons didn't do, what Bush didn't do. He declared an opioid crisis. The headlines read, Trump declares opioid crisis, allocates no funds. That's not his job. He did his job. It goes to Congress. They figure it all out. But I thought, what are they talking about? This man just did a great thing. And it made me think in a state that maybe cannot do anything without criticism, anything good.
Right.
And you have your drugs coming in from the borders along with your illegal immigrants. I'm very much in favor of a diversified country. One of my best friends is Bosnian. We are lucky to have him. He's a proud American. He's a great asset to this country. He did it like that other gentleman did, the right way. I was in a taxi cab a week or so ago, and there was a black man who picked me up, and we were talking, and the news came on, and I said, oh, the wall. And he says, well, I'll tell you about the wall. I'm a veteran. I'm a proud American. We need that wall. We need that wall. Other countries protect their borders. Can you imagine if we tried to go to another country? We could get our heads chopped off. It's unheard of. And it's not why, it's why not. Do it. Build the wall. Stop the crime. Come in the right way. We want you to come in. Just do it the right way. Thank you so much.
Very effective.
Terry didn't get too much into this, but she's had several struggles. And she lost her son, and then she finds out she has another sibling or another child who's struggling with the same issue. So Terry's one of these people who, you know, talk about living in the shadows, right? What about the Americans who live in the shadows and are suffering alone because our government isn't doing its job? So she has a family that's still suffering, and it just breaks my heart to see the amount of pain she's had to go through because we have people who are insane and do not want to protect us. It's absolutely unbelievable. And this is not a pity party because I speak for many, many, many people, many veterans' families. My husband also shot himself 5 years ago. They called it service-connected PTSD. He was 100%, he was in the Vietnam War, and he came back home. We all know what happened there, and he gradually got worse, did not get the help he needed. I cannot remember, I think John, as he was talking, we need to do something for these veterans. That's it. Thank you so much, Terry. I really admire her for coming out today because she's one of these people who's really suffering because of our lousy policies, right? It's time to protect the American people. Amen. Okay, the next speaker I had lined up is Gary Wieger. Gary has been a patriot. He's a security expert. He's been in the community for a long time. And so I asked Gary to share a few words today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Gary Wiggert. I'm a veteran of the St. Louis Police Department for 35 years. Hey, before I go on, I know the police are around here. I saw a number of the county police. If we could give a hand and thank the police for being here, protecting us today, protecting us every day. I also was the Congressional District 1 coordinator for Donald J. Trump. And I'm very proud that I represented Donald J. Trump at the Cleveland Convention. 100 years ago, this is the anniversary, 1919, my grandfather immigrated to this country legally. He joined the American Expeditionary Force in France, served in the military, and came here legally. And I support people who come to this country legally. And to stop illegal immigration, we have to build that wall. When I was on the police department, we had an overdose in our district every day. That was 3 years ago. I don't think that has changed. To stop the opioid epidemic, we need to build that wall. 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 That got me distracted here on that build that wall. So when I was on the police department, I made not one, but 2 car stops of subjects who were on the terrorist watch list. Oh. To keep those terrorists out of this country, we need to build that wall. That's right. Now, we are fortunate here in Missouri, thanks to Matt Blunt and the Republican legislature, we do not allow sanctuary cities in this country, in this state. And just like the officers need direction on what to do when they stop somebody with who's on the terrorist watch list, or what to do when you come up with an illegal alien, because police really don't have any direction. We here need to give our direction to President Trump. We need to direct him to stand strong, do not cave in, and get that wall built. We need to build that wall. Thank you very much for coming here and listening to my speech. Thank you.